Hey guys, Ali from ALTA. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, this video is to set up the ALTA Solo basket on an existing rack. So it's very similar to also if you were just going to build the Solo by itself, but there's enough differences where we wanted to show the basket setup is going to be similar. But we'll have another video of setting up the actual rack by itself. First of all, we're going to show you what comes in the package. We got everything out here. So starting with, you have the e-bike strap or the weight relief strap. You're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 3/8 bolts with nylock with 2 washers. These are 1 inch long. Then you're going to also have 3 3/8 to replace the bolts, because this is going to mount on top of the top bar, the existing top bar that you have on your rack. And then there's the single that you wonder if they lost a washer and a nut, which we didn't. This actually is going to do something, and you'll see that. The tools you need is pretty simple. You need 9/16 since it's 3/8. Anything 3/8, you basically multiply by 3 halves to know the tools. I know empirical measurements are weird, but that's how you know the tool. So 9/16 is the tool for the 3/8 bolts or 3/8 size. We have the stiffeners, 2 sets of stiffeners. We kind of have one mounted together already. You can see that is the way it slides, and then they come like this, so they embed into each other. We're gonna have 3 ALTA 6 straps. These are the updated straps with the stainless steel buckles, and they're a lot wider and a lot stiffer. There's quite a bit of difference in performance. We created a new mold for those. 2 brake engagers. You have basically your choke pins where it sets the distance, so you can run 26, 27.5, and a 29 in these baskets. You have the base plate mount that directly mounts to the vertical post. This is an updated design, so that's why we're doing this video. So we simplified things with the slotting system here. So it allows for the baskets to slot and adjust between, I believe, from 2.8 to about 4.3. And this basically mounts directly to the vertical beam. And obviously you have your ALTA Solo plates right here, and you get 2 of these, and always the bend goes out when you mount this. So this kind of describes what's going to come in the box for you. And next we're going to go to the rack. Okay, so we showed you what was coming in the box. Now we have the ALTA 40 fiber. Beautiful and a nice pink color. That's one of our favorites, actually. The first thing you want to do is to remove that top bolt. We're going to zoom in on this so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I'm going to use a wrench just to loosen it. It's a 9/16 wrench, and then I could unthread it. It's a 1/2 inch bolt, so it's going to come out pretty easily. Next thing you do is you want to take these nuts off, but you do not want to take the bolts out because you have all the baskets and stuff on there. So there's no reason to take these bolts out yet, because it's going to be hard to hold that top bar on them. And in the stand, if you notice, this thing's upright. I literally have the rack tilted in the stand, so that way the rack sits uptight. And I also tighten my stiffener so there's no play in the rack and it can stay upright. And that you can do it yourself as well. We're going to take the other off. Somebody built this super strong. And then you just take that nut off again. Come on, washer. Better get that washer out. Okay. Then there's one more bolt. That's the cross right here. So I am going to get a wrench on there and loosen that bolt. And if you have a bit driver, you can use that to remove stuff, but never use a bit driver to put stuff back on, because that's how you cross thread things. You want to get that thread started by hand always, no matter what it is, no matter what product you're working on. It's just better that way, safer. Now you can see coming forward, so right from the front where the AR is with the bracket, this basically goes right on. And what I'm gonna do is get this off so you can see. All right, so it depends on the rack you have. If you have a GPR rack, I would remove that top bar and then mount the plate, and that's kind of what the process we're going to follow here. But since I have a 45er and I have the braces, so I have a support holding up that top bar, but still that support is not going to hold it straight up. It's going to want to fall back when you take the bolts out. So you want a two-person job probably, but I'm going to try it with just doing myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bolt off. Get the rack real close to me right here. I'm going to take the bolt off here. So I have no bolts in here. I don't want to let go of that bracket, right? Now I can put this top bar or the mounting plate right on, and it's just going to rest right there. And you can see the holes align. And the slotting system, that's for backwards compatibility that we got going. So I'm going to put the first bolt in. And after that, it's good. I don't have to mess with it so much. Next, I'm going to put the second bolt in. These are longer bolts. Now it's pretty secure. Hand thread that nut on. But I still don't want to tighten anything here because I'll show you. This is where that bolt with the washer comes in handy, because this is a top mount now, and we got to get that camera up there, and there's a hole here, and it's going to line up right with that thread on top. That's pretty important. This was secure. That's a pretty critical part. So I'm going to tighten that. And it's just a quick turn. Nothing. You don't need to torque the crap out of this. The last, I'm going to put the front bolt on, just like that. And again, hand thread that nut on. So this stop. Get the other nut on. Nut. Okay. So I got these nuts on. I'm going to tighten these up so I have a secure interface. Then we could start putting our plates on. Okay, so we have the bracket mounted, and then we also tighten these bolts. One of the things we noticed, you don't need the longer bolts for the front here, so I used the existing 3-inch bolt. You're going to get that longer one. You can choose to use it or not. For future mount, if you're running a lift assist and you're putting one of these on as well, then that back 3.5 inch is going to make sense. So it's up to you which one you use here. I just like things to be shorter and exact so it looks cleaner. But as you notice, there's going to be a little protrusion here on the sides. The back is pretty flush. This is a 3-inch. These are the 3.5 inch. So if you want to put the lift assist on or anything mounting on the back side, you're going to need that 3.5 inch. Next, we're going to take with the plate, which is pretty simple. You want the ALTA racks to spell out with the brackets out, pointing out. So I'm going to take one of these 1-inch bolts and just basically lay it right on here. You don't need to worry about the location of it so much. It's more about just getting it secure in here so we can get the adjustment right later. So for now, really just what we need is get these nuts on and get it. And you see it kind of starts holding itself up. Just 2 per side. So get my hand through this basket. Get that bolt on. I have a washer and a nut going next. And it's always easier with 2 people to do this, but you can do this to kind of show you it's doable with 1, easier with 2. Probably adjust these a little bit, so they're not like all over the place. I'm gonna move this basket. A feature nobody else has right there. I just moved the basket, so I can So I'm not tightening it. I'm just getting it to a place where it's sitting semi-flush with that plate. I'm going to do the same thing to the other plate. So ALTA out, just like that. I need 2 bolts. I need 1 bolt and washer. So I'm gonna put that right there. And again, move my basket so I have plenty of room to work with. And then I'm gonna take that nut, or bolt, get it in there. Everything lines up because of our precision in manufacturing. We follow mill standard 810F for our design process and backwards compatibility. So it drives like the machining that we do. We do a lot of machining because of that, just to ensure you have backwards compatibility with future products. So no matter when you bought a rack, you can buy accessories and enjoy upgrading your rack, converting your rack. Is that modularity and design that really is attractive once you realize that this is like your last rack. So you're not buying a ski rack, you're not buying a bike rack, and then you're not buying a overland rack. You have tables, hammock stands, what you name it, and other features. So that's GPP. I mean, GPP is amazing. You can mount trays on there, you can mount coolers on there. You're gonna have all sorts of features coming out for that area. It's one of my favorite products right now. Just it's such a cool utilizing that space and also transferring the weight back into the vehicle, whatever you put on the GPP. But yeah, so this is going forward. So I'm gonna bring it back. I leaned on that rack a little too much. Again, I'm not tightening these, I'm just getting into place so these baskets aren't all over the place wobbly. That's kind of where you want it. Next, we're going to take our stiffener, and so the nut needs to point towards the tire. So you're looking at the bolt. And the way these stiffeners work, they all use that 1-inch bolt and nut. So same thing again. You want to, with these brackets pointing in, with the nut pointing in, you're going to come and line it up right here. You can get that first one on. I'm going to kind of let it rest. See if, yep, that works. I'm going to get this nut on so this thing doesn't fall out. And again, nylock stops itself. Get this bolt on to slide this back. It's a pretty cool design. You can see it coming together. And yeah, get that nut on the inside. So I should be able to get a wrench on there and start tightening this basically. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And we just built one of these, just FYI, for Over the Edge guys in Hurricane, Utah. What an awesome shop. Quentin and the team. And this mast is like 6 foot long. It's for a tandem. It's actually this color. We'll show you videos once he starts assembling it. It just went out yesterday, so I'm excited to see what he does with it. So it's going to be a 45er at this level, and way up there it's going to be a tandem bike coming down, but it's going to be using this solo basket. So I have this center pin now that I can also So you see how that basically creates an adjustment. At this point, I can basically stiffen these out a little more. I'm gonna use this drill thing. So I don't need it super tight, but you know, saves the wrist. And really, you want this to point like this, right? So that's what you're trying to achieve, is getting that angle so the bike is gonna, or the wheel is gonna sit there. So I'm gonna get that from underneath, or not, maybe. Huh. Maybe turn it then. You gotta stiffen up and then I'm sure we can shift it. There it is. So now it's just a twist. Yeah, maybe not. All right. You see the challenges that I'm going through. I haven't put one of these together in a while. So I'm gonna just basically loosen it a little bit, and then loosen this a little bit too. I just over stiffen it. These don't need to be super stiff. They do their job pretty easily. This guy keeps coming back. Okay, there it is. Now I got this set up right here. Last thing I need to do is set up the adjustment for the space. So I'm gonna repeat this process on the back side. It's the exact same process. Okay, so we have now mounted both of these brackets. The side bolts are tight. There's a little bit of ability to twist this. It's fine. You can get it from the top side once you finish the adjustment and tighten this, but I kind of leave them like this. There is no need, because once you tighten this, you're good. And we keep that bolt loose, the center bolt, because that's the adjustment loose, and we keep these bolts loose because now I can slide everything in and out, and you can keep them a little more loose. We might have tightened this one a little too tight to adjust that basket. Sometimes being lefty is not an advantage. Oh, that's not so tight actually. I can use my right arm too. Yeah, there it is. So I can now adjust that. That's like max out. So you're gonna get that 4-something tire in there, wheel in there, the 4.0, and then you tighten your center bolt. So once you figure out the distance you want for your bike, so you measure your tire width and set this distance. You want that kind of close, a little closer than super tight. I mean, sorry, not as close to a super tight, because you still need to get the strap through and really get this set up. So lastly, we got the pin, right? So we have our spacing pin, or basically chokes, but they depend where you're gonna put it. So like we got 26 right here, 24 26s for big tires, you know, and then you got 27.5, and obviously your 29ers. They go right here. You run this out, and lastly, you got your little cotter hole that you're gonna run that through. And also, before you put those in, you can slide them in, get it to the place, so you can now have the head all the way down, and then if you want to run it all the way out, you have a full secure pin in there. Follow the same thing for the other side. You can adjust this, but note that the extension is towards the vehicle, right? So this thing is not sticking out this way, and it's key to that, because if you flip this, you're gonna have contact with your bottom bar, the bike, or the fork into the basket itself. So it's really key to make sure the orientation of this mounting plate is correct. Another note is, if you were getting the Solo rack alone by itself, you would get this bracket that basically simulates that top bar bracket in here where it mounts on the top bar, but you don't need the top bar. So you have the exact hole pattern that goes on the back piece, and that Solo goes right on. We're gonna put this pin on the other side and then show you how to put the straps on. Okay, so we have the pins in now. Both of the pins are in, and just for the sake of this video, we're gonna push this all the way out, right? So I've slid that basket out. This is the max length on pins. So you're in there, you know, and next thing we're going to do is basically tighten everything. This is when you tighten these bolts first on your outside bolts, and then you also tighten this one, and then now we're going to put the straps on. So the straps, you want this on the outside, always buckle facing it. So the bike, you're standing on this side, you're going to do the buckle facing in towards the plate. So you're going to go from the top strap, and once you put the wheel, and this is where you want it, kind of, once you put the wheel in, you're going to go around the wheel and bring it in all the way around to the bottom of the wheel. So the wheel's in here now, and then you're going to go through the buckle and lock it in. Obviously there's no wheel in here, so it's really hard to get that connection, but yeah, that's basically, you suck in the rack, the wheel on one side to the left. The key is to do the opposite in the other side. So if I'm going through this way, I'm going to come here and go through this way and coming through this. So that, what it does is it allows two points of contact on the opposite side, and it locks the wheel into the basket, fully secure. You're going to have one more strap that comes with this rack, and that basically goes on your low bar, and the bike is going to drop straight down, and you're going to center mount it right there like a normal. If you were again buying the rack itself, the Solo rack, you would get this separate low bar piece that you can mount on, and then you just have a Solo setup like you've seen in some of the videos before. But the updated Solo is a lot simpler to mount. It's got a single mounting plate that goes directly into the vertical post, whether you have the top bar or not. That's when you decide if you want the bracket or not. If you wanted to get the rack alone, you can also get the bracket in addition to the basket in case you do want to take the rack off and just run a Solo. But this is the ALTA Solo assembly video. Hope this was educational. I'm Ali from ALTA Racks. Vano's holding the phone. Have a great day, y'all.